Very important information when it comes from me, Evangelist Samson, the APC Media Field Marshal.
Oh why, gone so soon. Evangelist Samson don't go.
Yeah, Fambulem, on a good evening from his side. Good morning, any side you find yourself in the morning hours. Good afternoon. Welcome to this edition. Welcome to this edition of we weekly monologue program where they come to live from UK and I online broadcast. Today, at me, we present this program to the main the host, Mohammed Kamara, come with Igalo. Today edition, we get to look at key components na we country, the components we get the huge population na Sierra Leone. The components we na the driving force into the development agenda, and the components we get the powers for effect any change in electionary process and the development trajectory. Now we can say we will look inside the issue of youth and employment, because we don't see violence, rancor, don't they happen in different parts of the country recently. Key and prominent amongst them are the August 10 protests, where we see we lost young people, security officers and die. Offices were looted. And I want for believe say key among the issues them where they create some of the issues there where they beyond control sometimes an issue of youth and employment. We listen to the father of the nation, President Julius Maada, in interview at BBC, where he slammed on the opposition for being part of the motivational spirit for let young people go into violence. But we will look at from a different perspective today, say, not to everything that happen in that country we get for politicize. More especially we get for come to issues the way bulk of the population we involved in young people. Because there's a common adage which says an idle mind is the devil's advocate. So today I don't forget guest them where we therefore can discuss on the issues there. I don't forget the former Deputy Minister of Sport. We are a very strong youth advocate. Before he become Deputy Minister of Sports, now the President of the National Youth Coalition. He belonged into advocacy for long years, and he gets long-standing experience. Comrade Al Sakon contact for bringing on board. They are therefore get Mr. Thomas Babadi, a very seasoned youth advocate, we don't contribute tremendously to the advocacy of young people in Sierra Leone. But inside the edition, like I mentioned, so we will look at the practices of young people, more especially the use of youth and employment. Because over the years, we don't see strides where the past governments we don't put in place in terms of structural arrangements. Like I mentioned, according to expatriates then on youth development, they say for any developing country, meaning country where one progress could before, for intensify the labor capital and create employment, it will take 2 decades, meaning 20 years. So in the past 10 years, we will look at what the past government put in place for ensure that young people are able to get the enabling environment and try for access employment facilities by establishing those structures. The past government, under the leadership of President Ernest Bai Koroma, bring forward what we call the National Youth Commission. Una not forget, say after the Civil War, the TRC recommendation will pick out one of the key factors then will be really drive the work so crazy as a result of the fact that young people are not being employed. There was a lot of unemployment, there was a lot of idle minds around. So after the war, we pack back they create institutions then. But because of we can't start back again new fresh as a nation, there were institutions where they create, but there was no focus more on young people mainstreaming and bringing them come into governance and bring them come into the private sector and create other means of employment so that the young people don't get self-engaged. We Ernest Bai Koroma take over office in 2007. One of a key campaign message and in promises to the young people that they go commit in government and they go lay in life for the young people. The questions somebody go ask, how far it will really go? When today, since 2000 and from the last statistics data we get, 2021, the issues of young and youth unemployment don't rise up to 10.77%, when are the highest. And I want to believe say sub-Saharan Africa, other nations, other countries and get the similar challenges, but then they try, even though the population higher than we, but we see say the a youth unemployment rate reach with your country. And looking at Sierra Leone, as a country, we get a lot of opportunities for people to transform the nation and make an income economic level country in the sense where young people will benefit and people will engage. In 2007, President Ernest Bai Koroma established what they call the National Youth Commission. The National Youth Commission, after all presidents take over office, they say the young people will need for establish structures and for ensure say they able get side outside for channel and concerns and complaints. So the Youth Commission was established. And not only it's happening, they say, well, we still need other further institutional capacities so that the young people will be that they constitute the bulk of the population for bringing them more on board so that the more the merrier. He established the National Youth Ministry. I will not forget, see, it was Youth Education and Sports. Later, it became Ministry of Sport and Youth. Then in 2013, after re-elections, he established the Ministry of Youth Affairs for being standalone ministry. And I want to believe, say, the ministry was established for can create supervision role for able harmonize young people concerns and the problems. Inside in the youth ministry, we get the 2004 National Youth Policy. That policy was revised in 2014. President Ernest Bai Koroma launched them. Inside they categorize young people into different levels: educated and uneducated, skills and unskills, trained and untrained, qualified and unqualified. And we get the one that we're not illiterate, we not learn at all. And government responsibility now for create the enabling environment and lobby with government ministries and agencies, including development partners, for ensure that young people then really actualize their potentials. We don't get there yet, but I believe so with the establishment of those structures, it really said the signal say there was commitment of the past administration for empower young people. And I want to believe say as me said be part of those establishments as first publications of the Ministry of Youth Affairs. I remember vividly some of the structures that were put in place. In the Ministry of Youth Affairs, we work with the National Youth Commission will be established by President Koroma, At the same time, we established what we call the Youth in Fisheries Project, whereas we young people in river and areas in the fishing communities for, let us say, benefit and be part of the government agenda. At the same time, we established what we call a national youth scheme, that is university graduates where they come from university. We not get experience at all in terms of involving into jobs, because we see say most jobs in there have too much experience. So the youth service scheme was brought forward in 2016. We enacted by Parliament and we launched it formally. That is the then president, Ernest Bakoma. In that service scheme, they talk about regional integration, bringing cultural heritage so that young people will get a cross-cutting experience in terms of regional balance. Then at the same time, we'll get what they call youth in agriculture. The Youth in Agriculture project was established again in the Ministry of Youth Affairs, so that agriculture as one of the key components in driving the human capital and for able to create employment for thousands of young people. We be back on and partner with the Ministry of Agriculture and reach out to what we call all the branches, the chief of them will be engaged and ask them for help the youth councils. We must not forget the past administration equally established what we call youth councils under the National Youth Commission. All over each and every district we get representation. And we get chief of youth councils as well. And up to date, they in existence. These are the structures we put in place. That's to say there was commitment and there was a political will on the part of the then administration for ensure that young people are able to really get structures in place for channel and concerns and get the engagement. A lot of development partners that we are engaged, they were part of the process at the same time to ensure they create the skills development and at the same time try to educate the young people and mentally and let them go fit for purpose. We get the youth in village area projects. Don't forget, say we get youth that will not go to school at all. But the youth in village clearing and the road maintenance, through the road maintenance administration, be able to provide job employment for young people all over the country. I remember vividly myself, I will go all over the country, cross country, say to Bond, Pujol, Kailam, Damu, Shegbema, all those areas, Moyamba districts, all the areas will be able to reach out to the young people and try for create employment for them. We can't do the North Kabbalah. For every month, young people are involved into that thing, then we get at least 500,000. Sometimes if the money not come quick, we will give them backlog. Some man they get 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. All that they own a cash for work, although these were short-term measures, but at the same time, if they create an employment facility, young people will be have hope. At least we want them, they must get something when they go to snap pockets. So the youth in village clearing projects, we will get young people in a fleet or even a fleet home, and then call bots them. Then they all over Dundas Street, Chas Street, all over Katu Kisi. Then they clean the drainage there. Like we don't see 2 days ago this landslide and mudslide will take place where don't ravage a lot of homes, then properties are gone, lives don't go. All those things are just all part of the fact say we need for the engage young people into those things. The waste management, we see Maada, we see all the companies and we young people that come together, they're able to generate so that then we will employ them, company them, so that the citizen all over will be engaged. In terms of inclusion into all of these projects in the districts, elections were conducted. And the first time in the history of Sierra Leone, after so many years, we get the Commonwealth delegation will be Sierra Leone for can establish what we call the National Youth Council. We will supervise the youth councils. Don't forget, like I mentioned and I highlight, these are the basis and foundation where you want to promote the cause of young people. Even though it was challenging, but the political will was there. But today, We go look at the present situation as the issue of youth unemployment, it don't skyrocket because we believe the government na continuity, not a one-day business. And we get the youth policy, we get the youth empowerment fund. The youth empowerment fund again, we not forget say this was an initiative brought forward for ensure say we able streamline all youth funding so that young people who are engaged into business, those who want to go school, those who are engaged into skills training, that youth empowerment fund for able cater for them, give them seed money at the same time for go start up business. But we therefore look into how they do follow up on all of those things today. What is happening in the youth sector? What is happening with the cash for work programs? What you don't go wrong with the road maintenance fund administration collaboration with the Ministry of Youth Affairs and for create then cash for work employment for young people all over the country like I did in the past. Because this incident will happen, majority of casualties, majority of protesters are young people. So if we get a leader where they fail for take responsibility for look at the main causes of violence of recent in the country, that they don't streamline and for be politically motivated stuff, we get a different perspective about it. Say, an idle mind is the devil's advocate. Government for able create the enabling environments, which are the nexus of government and the young people in their respective communities. Is our institutions taking responsibility? Are they engaging the young people in their different communities? Which are the right mindset within the give them? Which are the education within the give them about issues of non-violence? But lest I forget, may I use this opportunity for condemn all those violence, and we party the All People's Congress will continue for disassociate ourselves from those violence, and one for believe say government for take full responsibility. Because the responsibility of government are for provide security for citizens, then at the same time, you get for ensure say where there is security threats, government for put measures in place because they say prevention is better than cure. Not so when the damage don't come, they use as a political tool for hunt the opposition or for hunt the political opponent and for hope them so that you will muscle democracy. We will look at them carefully, even though they don't get a panel of where they don't put a list of people who will investigate the matter, but at the same time, we therefore equally check the credibility because already there has been a prejudice. The president don't go to international media, don't make an abundantly clear, saying that the opposition responsible, and they get people in with the insight. And we as a party, we want for believe say some of the issues there, it gets a long way for do with young people unemployment. It get for go a long way with the crime rates in the country. Because we see a lot of drug addiction in the country. Drug addiction has become the order of the day. There is no central control anymore. Push just to damage the young people. What is the responsibility of our state securities? What is the responsibility of our state authorities? What is the political will from the leadership of the country? Because where there is will, there is hope. On this note, like I highlight, waiting the past administration do for lay the foundation, government is continuity. We will look into those projects, we will look into those policies at the same time and see how this government they implement those policies for try for bring young people on board. Last year, we see a press release from the Ministry of Agriculture in partnership with the Ministry of Youth Affairs say that they create 10,000 job opportunities for youth in agriculture. They give instructions to the established youth councils then for ensure say they get able get lands and other things then. Government will able provide facilities and the seed money provide tools then so that young people will able engage in agriculture. Now 2022 they pass so. what's the way forward? How that press release on paper don't be transformed into field work. For us see the visibility of those stuffs. And lip service, we want for no. So in this edition, like I mentioned, I get the guest them today. We will look at this issue in diverse ways. It's not just about youth and employment, but the core system of youth and employment, they're waiting at the way forward as a nation. On this note, I will bring in my guest, one of my guests, them winner, the former Deputy Minister of Sports and a very seasoned youth advocate who gets long-standing experience in youth advocacy. I remember vividly before the Ebola outbreak, I'd be opportune as the PRO then of Ministry of Youth Affairs, together with my former boss, Ambassador Almami A. Kamara. I salute you, sir, for being brave. I salute you for your commitment then into the youth sector and up to date. I'll be opportune for travel with them. We go on the youth conference in Saudi. I'll be very fortunate for the part of the team, the delegation, 3 of us, myself, the former Minister of Youth, Ambassador Almami, then the Deputy Minister of Sports. I get a lot of experience and I saw a lot of things where ministers all over the world and converge Nigeria. I one part the minister from Somalia where they mentioned say, if we deal with issues or discuss issues of young people, we not go say we can't talk about young people that you go and now they 45, 50, 60 years now they can't take authority over them. No, the young people themselves will be part of the process. On that note, I will bring the former Deputy Minister of Sports, Sanko Conte, for come through light on the current issues in the country, pertaining young people, then waiting at some of the solutions and way forward. Welcome, Honorable Sanko Conte, to this weekly monologue program. Today we will talk about youth issues then, and being that you get enough of experience, I want to light more on this topic and we'll discuss frankly on the recent protests and waiting at some of the key factors where associated to young people and madness into the protests. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, comrade. You know, you don't give lots of background, you know, and the background where you give about youth is so insightful. I mean, it's so elaborate that you don't make them very, very simple for me for analyze. I mean, with broader knowledge. You see, the youth situation as Sierra Leone, if you check plenty documents them, especially the one that we people do and other agencies them, then they relate more with the youth than we did from the age 15 to 24 years. And most of the information they already get about youth unemployment, youth illiteracy, you know, youth in drug, now within the age brackets. And if one for expand and for go into the African Youth Charter, how it describes youth when are from age 15 to 35, you see say if they talk about youth unemployment, now the rates they at 10.77%, where in 2019, in 2018, it been there about 9.59. So you see say the unemployment rates it don't increase about 0.83%. What I want a big concern, you know. So and when you look the youth them, their involvement in drug addiction, and every day with the about new drug they when they introduce, you go about Pampas water, you go about Kush, you go about Diazepam, you go about Ticovami. So they get a lot of new innovation where then drug they destroy young people. And when you look because of the literacy rate among young people is so high, you know, the on skill level among young people is so high, You know, the unemployment rate is too high. So they can be easily influenced, not necessarily by politicians, but any person way can come around them. You find out, say, recently, we don't do about click business, where most of the leaders, them, now among themselves, they go tell you, say, this now 5-star, this now 4-star, or let's say, and they get huge control, huge influence among them, peer them. And then they, at constituency, ward, district level, they spread cut across schools, universities, communities. So you see, say, the main problem where they affect we, one, that of indiscipline, lack of parental care. You see, say, most of the parents are now, then they left them, picking them, then they go about their own business, they picking them, they defend for themselves, men themselves, go into youth peer pressure, where they make them go into drug, they go into criminality, they go into violence. So this is a big problem. You know, during the APC term, you know, say we advocate tremendously for CISO to get youth structures, because then youth structure then they're able for bring kind of advocacy, for bring change come inside the youth structure, you know. And the government by then, when His Excellency former President Dr. Anes Baikoma, and listen to the youth same, he established what we call youth commission. With that commission, they still lay under this government, where supposed to provide, I mean, equal opportunities for young people. And we get the youth councils, where they at zonal level, they at district level, and now they at national level. Well, all level and they now for empower young people them, for integrate young people them, and for make sure say themselves they play important role in terms of national development. And also under the APC, we implement the youth service scheme, where they also now for targets, I mean, youth will come on at the tertiary or college at university, where you get 1 year service where they do, whether it benefits a lot, and they make sure say that they deploy the young people them. If you come on a Western area and go say in a Kenima, if you come on a Kenima and send in a McKinney, for now get that cross culture, I mean, that kind of relationship, the way everybody, I mean, go enjoy good relationship, we go forget about tribal influence, we forget about regional, I mean, connection. We look at the capacity or the knowledge.
Yes, honorable Holiday. You mentioned about the issue of the youth service scheme, data for young people who graduate from university. You know, this was launched. This was launched in 2016 by the then president.
Exactly.
But how the employment system they go, are they going in line with what's at the policy, or will they see a lot of issues of political patronage, sectionalism, and all that stuff? They're not sustainable. The placement of those young people, how waiting at the outcome of them after the 1 year service, waiting at the outcome, because you go to 1 year service, they at the end of the day you don't get job placement, then the situation still remain the same. And we can talk about the will of government, because where there is a political will, government for able to open up institutions, like those institutions, private institutions, then government for able to open up the service at the same time, because we get several ways for able to incorporate young people into governance. It's not just limited to them political appointments, them, you know, because we don't see most of the young graduates already focus on political appointments. But even the military, even the police, we didn't forget professional young people that will go study, we can transform those areas, because these are the key sectors that we, for any time something happen, now then they face the citizen, and then they face the discount to young people. So how professional those areas on the be of recent from the youth service scheme? I don't know if you get any idea.
Yes, you know, because you know, so within the social media, we get a lot of information from the youths who are affected. You know, a lot of complaints say most of this employment is being targeted on party line, you know, on the patronage or Uda Sababu business. And that is not what the idea was meant for. The idea is an open space for young people away willing for come, and give them opportunity. So if now they even complain, say the party business, na uda sabi no sabi business. So the purpose for which the youth service scheme was designed has been compromised, and the purpose has already been defeated. So the essence actually, not too relevant now, because like I they talk, not only for employ young person for 1 year, no, the retention, because when you employ and where you left and go, how that person they go for capitalize on what you don't learn. So now that make even what we did, we next approach after we don't launch the youth service. Now for see how they expand the opportunity and link the youth employment scheme into various government institutions. So as you come out now the scheme, so you get side for go get placement. You get side for go get placement. So you know go there, you can't be the out back, but I don't think say it work that way. You get few way that they retain different sector there, but most of them they actually unlucky.
Yeah, because what they say, we do on the youth service scheme now. What I see now, this government will be parade with day in, day out on issue of employment. Because even last year, I see about 371 people were recruited into the youth service scheme for good service. And how many? What's the population of young people who graduate from universities? They go just incorporate about 370. So what's that? What's the figure all about? If you get over close to 15,000 young graduates from university, then you only incorporate for go into national service. Don't forget, they say in the youth service, it's a compulsory something that is a mandatory. Say when you come out university, you forgo to the youth service scheme so that you go able to be part of government service, government for able to take care of you. Then after that, those is the institutions that will say when they go do this practice and other stuff for learn the apprenticeship, then self gets some responsibility for incorporation. But if you get about 15,000 people that graduate from university, they only 307 incorporate them for go do service. Which the then the document say is a what compulsory mandate say when you come out university, you forgo through the youth service scheme. So how really that's applicable?
No, another work, because if you look at the Nigeria model, when I would try for copy form, you find out say it's a compulsory aspect where as you come out university, then they place you, and when they place you, then they retain you in so many places, and then they target the entire, the bulk of the one that we graduates. So if you get 16,000, 15,000 we graduates, then you get 400 where you employ. What's about the 14,000 600? What's they go? So is
so that is when I hear we they provoke the political will, because if there is political will from government, the leadership will take responsibility. Say this is a compulsory mandate. And then the document is compulsory. We come university, you for come for service to the nation. So what about them one and the way don't come to university now, they don't apply, they don't recruit them? What's the way forward for them?
Well, you see, say most of them now then they join Belgium, then they join Swazi, then they go into kind of aspect the way they actually they strain. So you see, say now the enlightenment among the young people it also broad. Go provoke into anything for defender. And then young people and they don't come on a university. Where they are streets. Now then I know say that they brainwash, but they get a lot of discussion whether they get with the youth them. Within our streets. So you find out say the demand is so high. The demand is so high. So for control that kind of sector, the government has to be very, very serious for ensure say provide huge employment opportunities. What will be there because of the mining, how it boom. You find out say most of the population that transfer go Makini and some Kolili, that boom end. We provide lots of take and local. We provide lots of employment opportunity for them because if we not get the private sector, if we not get company there, if we not get business people there, we will open up employment opportunity. We rely on our government. It will be very, very difficult, and that's the apple.
Yeah, yeah. They don't look at this issue because say the youth policy, they go to skills and unskilled youth, educated and uneducated youth. Now, over the past, we see this Okada riding. Now be one of the key because don't forget when you look at when they collate the statistics of the country, that's during population census, when they ask questions at the home center, even if you engage in business, in trade, meaning you are self-employed, then they factor you in the category and say you are employed. You see Okada riding will become one of the key driving force of young people who started to make their living. But the skyrocketing increase of the fuel prices presently, then at the same time, they don't debar the Okada riders them for walk around areas that we accessible, we very fast for them. The direct one is the final consumer and the passengers they for reach out. Because we don't see of recent that thing they don't drop drastically. And these are areas that back again where young people will be engaged for them will survive. But now we don't see things like that no they happen. Most of them don't sell the Okada then. Now they sit down and then get to them. No wonder when you mention about the issue of the different type of drugs that now we don't in the country. So I don't know what you will say about the issue of the situation of those people.
Well, you see, employment business, it depends on what you do. If you get table or if you get box, you sell, you employ one way or the other. If you didn't have a state, they Belgium or you didn't have Swazi, once you engage, they get to living, then we say you employ. So if the Okada rider them, where now business at the end of the day they get a turnover, is also part of employment. But how are they seen now? A lot of them has been harassed, and most of them bikes themselves today now the hands of the police because they get something they don't demarcate areas the way they're not for kind of the CBD. Although yes, a good number of people appreciate that because the number of accidents will take place when they parade or then they pass by the CBD. It is so plenty.
Yeah, but during the past elections, we see the city president. If you wear Okada element, they pass with those Okada boys all over the country, and they use those Okada boys for able to raise the tempo and make people they don't say he's popular among the young people. But today, we see the disadvantage where they happen. One, the country don't scanger. There has been tremendous increase in petrol, and a petrol the Okada they use, and we don't see there's a drastic decline in terms of Okada riding because if you don't get petrol, how you go for any living?
Yes, unfortunate way some people they want power, then they promise heaven, but when they get the power, they're not able to deliver. Now that's happened to Okada situation. They don't promise them, say na go then at the CBD, na go nobody know blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, you see the problem where you don't emerge. In the first one, they bring politics inside the Okada Union, where the old executive would be there, and some they say na APC, so they were kicked out. They introduce other people and way how we control. You find out say particular time we get a demonstration where the Okada people and now even the one the way they buy the Okada for can sell, they find it difficult because the increase in tax, all that thing. And so you find out say that business you don't actually drop and protection not today for them. You don't get a lot of incidents the way they don't attack Okada people and don't kill them because of their bike, all that thing, and they get the police the way they harass them back at the end of the day, then they go get accident damage or some people even they die. So the thing don't become fearful. Most people are now don't drop out.
Yes, sir. Yeah, not looking to this. There is a press statement where we come up from the Ministry of Agriculture last year. They said don't partner with the Ministry of Youth Affairs for create 10,000 jobs for young people in agriculture, mechanized agriculture, and be that you then at the ground. You get any clue about this? You don't see any visible in terms of like how we start the youth farm, the National Youth Farm, and Mashaka, we begin to see structures, things that begin move in place. You don't see any of those movements that won't begin to take place from last year to date?
You know, and 10,000 youths are a huge number. Then if you divide that across the country, 14 districts, you get what 800 youths now in the districts. Where they engage for agriculture. We don't need for the imports rest again. Because you know what projects. When you get the project activity, you get the outcome. So if you employ 10,000 youths in agriculture, the outcome for this is rest for plenty. Na the markets where now we don't go less. But that not the be. So it's just a fantasy, not to not just for political propaganda. You know they happen. And if you go to the district,
so what is happening with the youth? What is happening with the youth in the drainage clearing project, where the former president and where there was a political will, the ministry will really partner with road maintenance fund and really all over the country, like I mentioned, even at Darute Gona Kwendu, Zimi, everybody, each and every chiefdom, then they be represented. When months done, they will pay them that money. The district youth councils, each and every council chairman, na be supervisor, they get more than 1 million youths. Me, na living testimony. I was part of that process.
Sure.
What is the status of it now? They see the place just the bushy upline road there because then they be the clean. Even at Freetown, they clean the culvert areas and then drainage them. So what's the status of that situation as of moment?
You know, if you follow when the governments come, then blackmail the entire youth in drainage. You know, most of the ones they work, they invite them at the commission of inquiry. Then blackmail the youth farm, all that in the day. But at the end of the day, we will be there. You get in project, what's they call visibility. You see the youths them, they work the reflector. You see hundreds of them, na Kenima, hundreds of them, na Freetown, hundreds of them, na McKinney. They do cleaning, na the gutter them. And at the end of the day, months done, and they go pay them. Whether they get 600,000, they get some. Whether they get 1 million as supervisor, they get some. So that one day they bring a lot of hope, and most of them self-transform their life. They been doing to that project. They Sunday day university. Sunday they do other business, but that's when the government can cut them for them. So at the end of the day, most of them they not get so. Then they
So
sell
going forward, the way forward in a situation like this? Is it that is a blunder or is it a failure on the part of the leadership of the country for take responsibility of issue of youth unemployment? Because me don't see the commitment and the political will at all. I've never had any statement beside President Biogo come give that kind powerful commitment within the cause of the young people, like how it happens during the reign of Anes Krumah, where it practically bring down the youth commission and bring down the youth ministry, establish the youth councils, and try to ensure say young people will be part of governance at the same time. You see the political will from President Bio?
No, not at all, not at all. You know, reflective and this year because they come and introduce something they call car wash or car washing.
Yeah. Tell me what that car wash set up, because this was an idea that was conceived when we began as a try for put projects in place, even on the issue of the youth basket fund, because this recently, but these are all ideas where we did paperwork.
If you read the 2020 audit report, when you read about the car wash project, you will only you face and cry because most of the places where they go acquire for build the car wash, structure, they not get proper land documentation, and the project they wouldn't start, they not even for done. So it's just white elephants, and the one that's for the upgrades, almost the youth they get for day. When months on, almost be able to forget. So at the end of the day, just lip service, that's how we can call up a youth advocacy. Now just lip service. We not see anything we workable. Because if government don't get that kind of huge commitment, because when you talk about youth, the population is so concentrated that if we're not able to get proper programs and activity, we go engage them, we go provide skills development for them, We go make them employable. We go employ them. We go get work. We go give them money. Believe me, we will get a society where the youths and a drug business somewhere in the day. And anybody can come in.
So how you go connect? How you go connect some of them protests that way don't they happen recently? How you go connect them to the issue of youth and employment? What do you think?
You see, the thing about protests, you see, everybody gets a human rights, but a lot of misconception has been made where it's so appalling. Because when situation happen, you get to accept the reality. And this issue them for demonstrate, not to today. This one going possible don't they call demonstration. It don't call demonstration if I'm not remember over 7 times. Nobody know it to them. It don't say for let people wear black. Now few see, don't say you don't make this, you don't make this. And this one away right, it compounded with a lot of issues. One fear, it don't go up. It been there the last 10,000, you don't go up to 20, now you don't reduce to 18. Most people they do business, they go up line, they're not able. So a lot of frustration there. So that can be easily fueled, in as much as yes, and they blame say yes, political, something they inside, but don't look at the reality what they see. How for able to address them. Well, if you address that,
because what happen, what I observe, because
yeah.
then according to the president's interview, say this thing they happen now most of the stronghold of the opposition. But we see a situation where young people in Akenema will be bike riders. They be launch strike action against the police because police they harass them and fear we don't go up there as well. There was skyrocketing increase in fear and fear don't go up to some point. You can't ride as excessive they protest. But we know they shoot or they kill anybody there. So I don't know, I really don't understand what's really now the mechanisms where police be put in place, where that's not be work in a situation like that, but it happen now areas and where the president refer to as strongholds, but we see lives and go. And most
you see for accused person, you get a lot of factors, you get a lot of elements and way you get for income for justify your accusation. Now the pandemic with incidents will be happen. What's in the president say? Now APC, now terrorists there. But at the end of the day, when they make the investigation, when they publish them, may not see nothing we make mention of APC. I not see nothing. And like I did talk about demonstration, it don't happen na Pujem, na Samali area, where they're going to society business, with man, they run outside, they all go to bush. When this statistics business be there, you see a lot of demonstration across the country. People they demonstrate for the payments, for the salary, all that thing. And they, you see, even at one time, Okada union they don't demonstrate now free on here. So if the one for blame say na political, na politician, this, that, then they get it wrong. Then they get it wrong. So one has to be very careful how they oppose.
Going forward, what do you think now the way forward in situation like this, now that we can't approach elections and we get registration, they start on the 3rd. What's now the way forward?
You see the youth business will get seasoned youth experts them. I'm not gonna let for name them, but those people has to be engaged, as to how for salvage the youth situation. Because if their idea and they know a big problem. But like now we talk about registration and election, merely 10 months now, registration is very, very important. Because violence, nobody no condone. I make a glad way opposer. Violence in any way, not for be supported by anybody, for condemn outrightly. Because at the end of the day, now young people either they die or get injury, or they arrest and carry them, go to police, you buy them, court business.
So political colors.
Yeah, exactly. So violence, not for anything possible for condone. You see, you got political scientists them who say your greatest weapon for make change. Now you vote. And everybody for prefer the ballots than bullets or than stone. So everybody get rights as individual as long as you got 18 years. For go register. Let nobody no can influence you to go and treat or go cause problem. Because at the end of the day, it don't make sense. This is not a democratic society. We don't dip at democracy from 1996. And we don't get up to 6-7 election. We get by election them. The only way possible to go to parliament now where you go and vote for you. The only way you go be president, now where you go and vote for you. So let everybody go register because it starts from the 3rd September and end October 4th, 2020. That is very, very important. So everybody for make in your obligation. Everybody for make in your right for go and go register.
So on this note, on this note, sir, you be able to get any assessment of President Maada view in commitments towards young people in this in 4 years, in governance?
That is minus 0%. So I cannot, yes, I don't make that a total failure, a total failure because if you work on a street, you see young people the one who they sleep in streets. There's so if you come out self doing daytime, lots of young people.
But other people they go argue say these are things that will be don't happen again in the past administration. So what do you say about that? Being that you now be the former deputy minister of sports and you come from the youth talk.
Yeah, I tell you, say the youth unemployment rates that's alone in 2018 where APC been there now 9.59, and now where this government did now 10.77. So you don't see a kind of huge difference. So everybody came for no waiting that the difference, So because this now World Bank they make the assessment there where they favor nobody, so it's very, very important. So it's high time now for everybody for prepare for doing registration. Voter registration is very, very important, and we do massive awareness raising for make people come out for can register, because when you register at the end of the day, they will know the amount of people away eligible for votes. If not 3 million
in all of this put together, you feel say the young people of Sierra Leone go entrust their commitment back to President Maada Bio for able win the next election in 2023 based on your and your assessment on the ground. If you say young people are ready for support,
pass that wants reversal because APC been they fear like 6,000. Every man they 18,000. So if you only go 30,000, go vote back for that.
And then they don't affect. And that they don't affect in lots of business and companies, and some companies are not close. Even in petty business, the way people they engage on, they're not able. If look, even lot take about even the issue of them mobile charging there where they happen, then tele centers there. How they go to survive this kind of fear increase?
But
these are young people as well they engage in those mobile then tele centers there.
So it will be a big mistake for like any reasonable young man. For go vote for this government back, it could be a big mistake.
If you say 2023, the youthful population for vote against President Bio?
Completely. It's a unanimous decision by what me they hear, what me they see. And it would be a surprise if the SPP government gets 39%,
So you get any one or two solutions where you go prefer towards young people? In terms of their participation in governance, in terms of creating employment for them, some of the way forward?
You see, honestly, recently, young people are also aware. And if you look the enrollment level at various institutions, the universities, and even them other learning places, them young people are making lots of efforts because they don't get the awareness, the education, the fundamental. So they encourage young people to continue with that, and anything where they reverse their life, we not like for put on by drug, for put on by criminality, for put on by anything where would make them get police case, make them left them, make them get resilient, and make them focus on political business where they bring change vote for a company young man we want to go as councillor, vote for a company young man we want to be chairman at the council or mayor, vote for a company young man we want to be parliamentarian, vote for a company young man we get important role in a political party as long as they relate to tuna. Then they for build focus. For anything where they bring problem now your life, they bring problem in your community, go against them. And that young man they come out by 80 when in discipline, lawlessness, you know, anything they bring provocation. Because at the end of the day, you as a young man, now a disservice to you and a menace to society. So that's important role for play. For make them major political party there, let young people and go and govern them. Let them get very important.
So what's not the present status of the old political party youth association? Because during President Combine time, we get even them political structures and they be established for engage young people and you know more especially young people who participate in politics. Because both SLPP, APC, PMDC, and all others, they rotate the leadership so that elections process like this way will come. You see, the young people that win at their political parties, they engage their colleague young people at the different districts for ensure that they're not involved into violence and let them continue for exercise restraints and believe say that they're part of governance. What are the status of the old political party youth association? You get any idea?
You know, at one time in 2013, I mean, at the very one way we constitute upper back. I bring they all come together and begin work together. Say we get plenty money and say we at the end of the day, then we end up commerce SLPP, they can join APC. But now the operation of upper is just limited at the WhatsApp group. They know we go out of that and they make a lot of complaint against PPRC. We have seen that they know other well. You know, they get for own up. Let them call themselves. We get major political party them. Let them take the ownership and take the lead. Because at this time, APA gets very important role for play. So then for them to mobilize themselves, gets a functional executive structure, we're going to incorporate all the political parties.
So you don't feel say you don't feel say the present government, the ruling party, get a role for ensure, but these are all parts of democracy because democracy they give way for inclusion. Democracy they give way say even opposition are partners in development. Because then institutions they are that be all parts of TRC recommendation for ensure that participate in governance. So then bring down this amalgamated institution. So SLPP, APC, PMDC leadership, the all for APC people and accord for condemn violence, educate young people. But what I notice, what I see of recent in this administration of President Maada, there is a big dichotomy between the government functionaries and the people. I know they see that nexus, the way they flow between them. Even the leadership, even in the youth policy, even in the National Youth Service Scheme, there's a provision in that service scheme which say for every year the president they come for address the young people in the congregation, also young people go converge all over the country. And then for demonstrators they call patriotism. Look like we see the International Youth Day recently, they just as usual workshop. The president's not even there in person for motivate the young people and talk to the young people and give them hope. Let them believe, say, then the business of young people will really deep down into your heart. But what I see and the notice is all of politics. Don't you find that what, sir?
Well, you see, this democracy, it gets a model. If you get the opposition way, then they're afraid for talk. Because they're afraid say government will go arrest them. Or government will go put case for them. It make the democracy fragile. And at the end they affect their institution, they like APA or APIA or whatsoever, APIA, when are the youths them. You know, because at the end of the day, if the SLP people, what they want to talk something controversial, it affects them. Then go to blacklist them and tell them they do job, they sack them. Same way so said for the APC policy. So that MLA institution they die, then they take a natural death. So it's high time really for like them rejuvenate that structure there. You know, so what's the advice young people not to send this now way possible can't talk now you aid. You SSF, you get for see, and you get brain for think. So if you all know the difference between good and bad, know between hell and heaven, between fire and water. So if you didn't fire, if you try commodity, let you go near water, So we advise every young man, because they can say this is awareness time, we possible for can brainwash you again, because now you go see politicians, they can't hear you. Say 100,000 be the give, and now they can't begin give us. Say you give 500,000 all length in a day. So, but your community, look if you get good old day, look if you get good water facility, look if employment day for you. Because at the end of the man can't give you one coin. At the end of the day, outside they left in the same situation no more. So bring a system now where will provide employment for you, where you go work for 5-10 years. You SSF, you able to get a structure where they put in you. You able for APC kingdom. So I know they look at not so a kind of system where parochial, where you thinking in now only for young people or other than vote for. You get for member about the country, and that's what they look at. So I'm not saying young man them giving me I get sense now. If you read the discussion them, you see the young behavior there. You go na game, you go in the top. You go na attack base, you see you go in the top. You gonna say hope play for this country, and not say the election they go bring a change where anybody where they can sit down at that position, they say Sierra Leone and then
so in the last one, I'm not saying you're a politician, you want to end on that note. You think say APC don't they ready for 2023 elections?
You see, APC will get political strategy where the governments of the day they not forever understand them. Let them see them say APC disorganized, APC not unite. But where they go? We know say at the end of the day, where the whistle blow, will they take up governance? That they no matter because everybody will no matter who's camp today. Waiting you want, now for say APC come na power. Whether you get job, you not get job, that day it no matter. But for your safety and the safety of the people, what's important now for the APC camp. So not to see now they talk about to people, all the stakeholders they know. And yesterday they don't make it clear. 21-man committee, they don't sign a communique where they for work together. Today they don't go to PPLC, the rules and regulation follow all the lower level election them. Then they agree on that. So when they get down, they boom, will they start the lower level election from there. Will they get dates for the convention?
For welcome.
Of course, now not coming back. So me are sure we populist them because when our grassroots support we bank on. Yes. For everybody know say the APC, of course, we know inside 2007, now the same drama been unfold. But at the end of the day, already say boom, now go to go, and now that boom they will don't campus. So let everybody be rest assured say the APC ready for take power, and the only way they take power at 2 election. Let nobody not go back propaganda say APC they for demonstration, they for riot. No. APC is well focused. We are well focused, and we don't focus on our politics today. And politics are for ensure say we people them they go register, and when election come, they go vote. So anybody who they talk, then not just propaganda no more. But APC is a political party. APC is a peaceful party. And we believe on the power base, and we don't strengthen the power base. So there is no open for anybody. When election come, by God the power, no say we take over.
Okay, thank you very much, Comrade Alsanko Conte, former Deputy Minister of Sports and a very seasoned youth advocate. And I want to believe say you don't really throw light on issues where they affect young people on the issue of drugs abuse, and then you experience as well the past as a former government official. You don't highlight about the youth structures and all that thing. I want to use the opportunity on behalf of the UK and I online TV show program thank you very much for your participation in this weekly monologue program. We definitely will therefore keep in touch with you for continue for share your experience and call on young people for able believe say their destiny in their own hands. In 2023 elections is definitely going to be a vehicle of their hopes. Let them come out and vote and go register. Like you everyone. I want to thank you. Stay calm, stay put, slow, continue the advocacy. Thank you very much for your participation in today's edition.
Yeah, thank you. God bless you. Thank you. God bless you. Assalam. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Fambulen, we will continue as Umadoyevi from the former Deputy Minister of Sports. He don't elaborate on several issues that will happen at the country regarding young people. And then Babadi, Thomas Babadi for become will get some technical issue with him. We'll know he will bring them forward. But we will continue with the show with me, the host, Mohamed Kamara, commonly called Komole Gallo. Like we mentioned about the issue of youth unemployment as one of the key failures of President Julius Maada in the 4 years. Don't forget, expatriates on youth issues. Clearly, the state say for youth employment or youth capacity building for able to become sustainable. Now, any developing country, mean country where they go about for develop. One key factor where they say now that it will take 2 decades than 20 years. In the last 10 years of President Ernest Bai Koroma, he able to establish the youth structures there for let young people and take responsibility of their own ownership. We see a lot of interministerial partnership will be take place even during the Ebola time, how young people then able to recruit young people to UNFPA for able to monitor as contact tracers and all over. Even on the education sector, we bring come institutions like the Lincoln University, where this government can then blackmail for be fake university. These were all universities where government be cater for. Then they bring come, then they pay scholarship for young people. Where are all those political will from the leadership of the country today? Too much politics in the country. They don't concentrate on the welfare of young people. Like what we guess we say, he mentioned about the issue of drug addicts. It has been the order of the day. Unemployment rate double to 10.77% since last year. We don't know what in 2022 reports could put. So we appeal to the young people. Issues of violence not the solve problem at the country. When I get an opportunity for ensure say you go register. Don't forget say the voter registration, it equally give you opportunity for let you get your national ID card. As government right now gets constraints for produce ID cards, national ID cards, but the voter registration card will able help you for let you get your identity. Now we go into respective queues and the a lot of forget say you know for wait 9 minutes. Say I dey wait 9 minutes before they go register. When you check na neck dem calendar, they make provision say then they do them by phases. The first 2 weeks is very important for them. We all go come out in with large numbers, but Lord we ensure say we law abiding. More listen to the security officers then, more pay attention to the fact say we want vote 2023 and we want changes 2023. And no need for tell you say the country is situation right now, there is no freedom of expression, in enabling environment for let young people able get the entertainment as it used to be, it's not there. Today, we be get a lot of parades that will be there happen. They see young people over the weekend, then they go jog, then they go exercise, then they be in a musical set for just keep the mindset balance. But now all those things have been suppressed. Job and employment has become a key challenge at the same time. Don't forget institutions, they will get the Ministry of Youth Affairs then. All the projects that we can blackmail say fraudulent projects then, but they employed the young bobo into those offices. They not close one projects anymore. The youth in fisheries project, they get a project manager, they get a whole structure. Government development partners only spend billions of recent into those projects. But the vexing question is, who side they? Who side those projects they now? What not the status? How you able know say they don't build them boats there and are young people in the benefits? Or are they contracting NGOs? They don't establish NGOs when are NGOs and they contract say now we're for going to implement this project instead of the direct beneficiaries when are the young people. Inside the National Youth Service Scheme, they make up a policy say Everybody where they graduate from university every year, then for able to recruit you into the youth service, and you forget that 1 year job experience, and they need for teach you more about cultural integration and patriotism. But over the years, we just see 500, 307 out of 15,000 young people they graduate by year in institutions there. Waiting at the way forward. Is government going by those policies? They don't abandon the policies, they just do things they now on their own. What is the Youth Commission doing? How they cater for young people who go school illiterate? What about the technical vocational institutions, TVET education? This government don't lay premium on education, but the question we go ask is education. Now the A all and B all education we go guarantee you say you go get job? No. You can be educated, but yes, still we go to the job market. There is nothing available for you. So government need for create the enabling environment. The labor market, they need for intensify the labor market. Cash for work programs and video will be short-term measures then for people away they will not go school at all, but they want get we have for engage themselves so that they're not going to get miscalculated with drugs, they're not going to get used or incited by unmotivated people for go involved into violence. But today, nothing like that will not see. Everything just don't go quiet. We know the leadership they can for address the young people. Now only when violence happen, something happen, then it relates to politics. Now politics no more get for now politics now A all and B all in this administration. Everything are blame games. Whereas institutions and they will already in existence for ensure say government work hand in glove for empower those institutions. What is happening with government authorities visiting their communities for engage young people, for engage their people there? All them things there will not see. These are all part of the problems where they happen in the country. We make the protest where naturally they happen about issues of prices, issues of freedom of expression. All them things here they boils around the fact say people they do not get nothing absolutely for do. We call on the young people of Sierra Leone. Registration don't come. We educate you now. No see you waiting at violence we will put Maada in a government. No see you wait saying that who the barren. It's not possible. This is a democratic state, a democracy. Now we go in with large numbers. More turnout for the registration process. And ensure say we disassociate ourselves from any form of violence. We get tendency for creating rank on the country. During the 11-year civil war, most of the people who become victims, now young people, be it man or woman, we see where they die. People they die. People they die. They will not want the situation anymore for happen in the country. That is why some of you they charge the government of the day, the leadership of President Maada, you get a responsibility for ensure that you create the enabling environment for your citizens there. You know the wait past something happen, then you come with a political statement for kind indict the opposition. Not opposition in a government. Sometimes you treat issues of national concern, you don't mention anything for no politics. If you even they suspect Mr. Y or Mr. B, you get for treat am as a Sierra Leonean. And you get for treat and say you are the president of the country. You know the treat and say you are representing a political party. You are representing the country. Nobody know they are above the law. So also you, Mr. President, you are not above the law. I make anything where you do for them within the confinement of the law. The issue where anything something happen, you go in the international media, they mention about terrorism in the country. It's not good for the image of the country. That in itself, they drive development partners out for the country. That itself, they make potential investors then will become so scared and worried. We don't get terrorists in Sierra Leone. People are suffering. The young people they want job. The young people they want to be part of governance approach. The young people they want let you go to engage them. The young people want all those institutions that have been established for being functional and then for able to access those institutions. Government for able deep in and create job employment. It don't mean say past people get elephant jobs. In abroad, we make abroad people they survive because the skilled labor, the manual labor, then lay premium on them. You don't need for go school for like get access to job opportunity. Now so we want less than be. Now you make during the TRC recommendation, then we recommend say government need for create youth institutions so that they will able to govern themselves and try for create empowerment. But nothing like that is happening for the past few years. Everything just does stuck. All the projects that when the former president implement on youth issues, they're still in existence. When I employ people a day on political basis, but what is their responsibility and mandate for reach out to the common man and woman? What's not be their responsibility for reach na party, reach na all those areas for go do education to young people about the issues of non-violence. Not to when violence happen, then take responsibility of the fact say no, we declare on the issue of politics. We have to be firm enough. We have to be committed to the country. We need for show some resilience. Say the country they are both political parties. Now elections they cancel. This issue of youth unemployment. How you will manage the situation there? We need the campaign message to the young people. We need the campaign message to the people. Or you therefore depend on institutions the way they under control for regulate election process system for win over elections. Then what about the voice of the people? Where they suffer in abject poverty. We see some movements in the education sector. We see say yes, the Minister of Basic Education they do well. They move around here and there for ensure say young picking them within at their level then they for able access them education services. But is all that enough? We spend how much of the money we even government they spend per education with the propaganda so much that if you see all development money then now we they can all up per education. How much they even pay per students then, per pupils then, how much government they even pay? The burden is still there on parents then. They get for pay transportation of Okada for let picking and go, those in the fast schools then. They get for now they feed the picking then and then they buy uniform, they get for buy textbooks them as well. So how much really are the money we government they pay for one per pupil for their access this free education what they talk about? The minister will do it best. But what about the existing structures then? What about the structures then? If you know they to man as an individual where they try best, how that institution will navigate? Wake up, Mr. President. The blame games too much. The young people are suffering. Job employment not there at all. The unemployment rate don't increase. The youth service scheme, way for at least create that kind of enabling environment for young people, for able to get apprenticeship, and able to get some experience. We get over 15,000 young people they graduate every year. How only in a 3 or 500 will able access the youth service scheme enrollments? We BCC compulsory mandates. Check now other African countries we copy the Nigerian model. It's a compulsory mandate. Government for able to create that environment. Government for able to deep in and fund those projects. So outside the money they go. Youth in agriculture. We see press release last year, 10,000 young people. When I put us in a corona, but corona don't be done now. So what's the way forward? 2022, 2023 they cancel. Before year they can do. Waiting at the campaign message. Waiting at the campaign message. Then they kill innocent civilians then. Government no dey take action. Then they go blame and say politically motivated. Let's stop the politics. Not everything are politics. Government for take responsibility. Because now government get control over the security sector. Waiting at the employment rate in the country. How they don't broaden the civil service for able to incorporate young university graduates when they go into the youth service, when a youth service couple after their graduation from their 1 year service. How government able open up the service. They don't launch the youth fund project. But with the mechanisms put in place for ensure say those fundings we get for coming will be translated and young people will benefit. We will continue with the workshops and talkshops. These governments don't feel young people woefully because they meet existing structures. There was a political will in the past administration, but here we will not see any commitment absolutely. Always we see in a political statements then. Instead of they address the issues, before that they will come and condemn, and at the same time they not provide the solutions. You know, can't condemn say the youth farm now a fraud and a project that will not exist, but you employ people and they for be managers then. You know, can't talk say the youth in fisheries project now a scam, but you employ somebody there when you come back again, you get a big time employment, you give them employment, fat one from State House. You know, say the youth service scheme was a fraud, but you employ people and the process they go on. So, what's not the blame game? What's not the issue of condemning without make any solution? Today, the situation just the worst. There is no access to justice. The injustices in the country too much. Young people in the suffer, okay? Young people in our prisons and in our cells. They let them able access justice. What is the way forward as a nation? What do we do? What in government for do now? Government need for wake up. Let there be will. We need for see the political commitment from President Bio. Even though you don't left for a few months to elections, because I get a very firm conviction say the failure of President Bio in addressing youth issues and youth problems definitely foresee an exit door in 2023 elections. That is why me they call on young people. Now we come in large numbers in the register. Registration they start on Saturday. Let we day now those lines, let we patience. Because one of the key things we can affect young people and the patience we not can get. But Lord go na that line then with a calm mind. And get the firm conviction, believe say we for register. In 2023 elections is the vehicle of the hopes of young people in that country. It's going to be the vehicle of hopes of young people. We must onboard this vehicle with the change we all desired. We need change. Change not they come with violence. You know they come with rancor. They come with the necessary and requisite strategies there. They say politics and the battle of words and ideas. Go to weapon. We go for be smart and ensure say we fight the common enemy in the country. The enemy of injustice. The enemy of not creating youth employment. So we all absolutely, we all the young people, we get an opportunity for speak clearly come 2023, but the process starts now. We need to onboard this vehicle, go through this journey, a one with many roads and many possibilities. Politics of tribalism, nepotism, regionalism, sectionalism should be seen as politics of the past. Nobody no better passing company. No citizen, no better passing company. We all for be treated equally. Although some man go argue say equality na thing wey varied, but I want for believe say the level you for pass me but not for be too much. You for pass me based on the fact say you qualify pass me professionally, but you not for pass me on the basis say I not belong to political party A within a power. Somebody they ask a question. We can't go to the text messages and somebody they ask question. Come with Regalo, did SLPP actually revisit the past government youth institutions or just cancel everything? What is the current state of the play of youth employment? Mo Bangura. Well, Mo Bangura, I can tell you categorically clear say the institutions them where this SLPP government they can meet on youth issues, they're still in existence. In fact, they don't appoint people a day long ago since where they come. They get managers them, they get ministers them, where they man their affairs. All them projects and the way they can blackmail say that fraud, white elephants. They get managers and they still they run and government and they still they run with development partners. They are making money in those institutions. But you know they see the reflection into the real young people, the final consumer, the right people that we really need those things. Go to the fruit of go to the streets of Freetown. Young people, even the disabled young people, you see them now. Like the former deputy minister mentioned, say the level of how people they sleep in the streets like so much. Drug and crime rate just increase rapidly because the young people are not get self-engaged themselves. Like I mentioned, the road maintenance fund administration, the drainage clearing, even the young people and the friends of the dead, they were catered for. They were part of it. Even the entire base system, go and recruit people, young people and the leaders there, just for ensure that no more, they get their mind occupied. We want to get something. So the current state of youth affairs, now that the youth unemployment rate don't increase. Last year, no more 10.77%, the highest. Jobs are not there. Employment facilities are not there. So papi show. Sit down at the offices, then saving a project manager. But how those things will reflect in young people, those in the river and areas, whether about the boats there where government spend over billions of research. Now the young people they really they control them boats then now they spend billions of monies. So the institutions, to answer to your questions, are still in existence. They have employed people. They're not scrap them all, they still exist. But just because of bad governance and political propaganda, they can not be understand the current affairs of young people. They not sit down for let them understudy and get apprenticeship and follow up on issues. Then blackmail everything with the past administration do. But they still use their structures and they for employed their young party people. That is the saddest thing in our country. President Maada bill, the young people they be really support him in 2018 elections. When the campaign get Okada 98, young people and they blow Okada on all over the place. They let today, the Okada riders, where are they? Some of them don't sell the Okadas because they don't get money for buy petrol. Some of them, the Okadas they don't pour, they don't get money for then a repair. The youth farms, we see on paper, 10,000 jobs, youth in agriculture. 30 they will not see nothing. Lip service. There is no political will from the president. There is no political commitment. When last to see President Bio call meetings na communities for go engage young people, for give them that hope, resuscitate the hope. Say yes, when I get a president who care for una. When President Bio Ido area go to international conference, they mention about the die-hard need of young people, how they for coming for help the situation of youth unemployment. Now education no more. Education is key, we all know. But if you get education, you don't get job employment. How you able translate your education for let you able survive? Economically you are broke, but you get big English the way they speak. So how that be able translate even at you home? You man, your wife, people will respect you. That is why we are very much passionate. And I want to use this opportunity for call on stakeholders inside the All People's Congress Party where we belong. The time is up. We must now put an end to the petty grievances. The camps and cabals, we all for join forces together. We get a responsibility morally, economically, financially, for ensure say we redeem Sierra Leone rights from a political and socio-economic entanglement. Sierra Leone really entangled right now, politically. Sierra Leone really entangled economically, we are embattled. APC now the only political party who will provide alternative government. And we must ready. And we must come together. All fractions, divided groups, splinter groups, let's come together and fight the common enemy of the states who don't oppress and suppress freedom of expression. We get laws there for that, they don't pull their laws and they all are pretense. But today, they enact law them back against it for regulate the social media. We bulk of the population where they use social media and are young people. We are not for intimidate nobody. Sierra Leone are we all country. It belongs to we all. As the matter be in opposition, you be the way you can happen a government. But don't learn from your experience, past and present. And you will believe say power and nothing. However, you use power till you don't go day forever. So all you need for do now for create the environment where everybody will feel belong. Everybody will feel part of. Alone a small country. 2023 they get elections. In short period, now 4 years don't done so. What's like successes? How you transform the lives of people then? That is now we for council. Not to how you use court order for go install speech, for go remove APC parliamentarians. Because these are most of them are young people in back again. The Honorable Timbo and others. These were young people. Just because of political machination. Just because of you want get control. It's not how best you get control over the state authorities or state departments and agencies. But what are you influence? What is your influence for you to bring up the change where people want? It's not only limited to power, but what's the convincing? What's the conviction? Say things will happen. That's what matters. We cannot celebrate you if the country not go before. We cannot celebrate you if things are not change. So on that note, may people learn na salon. Be you young, old, Lord will come out in the numbers and go register. And the third registration they begin. The registration very vital, the ID card, now national ID cards and all the commons, the nuggets, but you use the voter ID card for get essential services as your identification. Young people from Bo, Kenema, Kailan, Pujong, Bombali, Makeni, the time is up for them to say politics. The economic politics now for practice, not so traditional political parties, ideology. Now, who say you the benefit? Who say you know say you had a great job for you? Who say you know say yeah na you dey eat? Na dey for vote. That politics of this one and my brother, if even a bad self, na there for support. Should be politics of the past, team of the past. Vote for policies wey go able transform your community. Vote for somebody wey go able bring the necessary change in your life. Not vote for person based on political colours, faith or stations or regions. Change no dey come by that. We dey only get change when we get the right people, the right mindset for ensure say things dem go before. I will can end this program very shortly, but quick again for summarize the issues then. We discussed on issues of youth unemployment today, the failure of President Maada bill, by highlighting the past, the institutions the way the past government creates based on recommendation from the TRC report, and equally so, those institutions will establish wetin really the relevance of as of moment under President Bill administration. Things are not moving. The young people are stuck. The will is not there from the leadership for drive the interministerial coordination, for drive development partners, for let them believe say young people are part of the development agenda. We are not seeing it at all in this administration. The failure is eminent, and we must ensure as young people we salvage Mama Sierra Leone by voting for change in the next general elections. I can play for a very old track where that track anytime we play am for young people. If you know somebody very passionate, you believe say the young people are the right people. The young people are the development agenda for every government. The young people are the dynamo of society. This na steady bongo music. This na steady bongo music. Wanna listen to me. The youth they want for work. Folk no dey, how you expect them for leave? All them protests that we don't they happen recently. One of the key factors. You may categorize that any kind of way, but youth unemployment is one of the key factors we make the protesters them. If even as somebody they incite or instigate them, now we don't get nothing for them. And I don't mind. It's the devil's advocate. We must stop the politics and believe say issues we therefore do with the nation or threaten the security of the country before we control that. So now go listen to this track before we close the program. And I want to say thanks to the technical team of UK and I Online TV. I want to thank somebody mentioned about the issue of free education. Yeah, say there is it's because you talk about the free education, say free education is what the government is using to distract mankind from the massive looting and destruction they are doing to the economy of the country. So is it? I want to thank the technical team for this broadcast. I want to thank Comrade Delwin as the producer and co-producer Mrs. Rashida Berete Kamara, my lovely wife, for the support. The technical and management team headed by Comrade MMBB, and we co-host them for the monologue program, Comrade ABS, a man with vision for catch details, a very prominent, astute Sierra Leonean, when they speak truth to power. I throw my salute to you and accept my condolences for You lost Ella, brother. I don't see the moon right now. And I want for believe say you will only sum up courage for kickstart and continue the program. Come with Imran, the co-host. I want for thank you all for the support. And don't forget say the UK and online TV broadcast will come to you this weekend with Comrade and Kosu and Sweet Bonita. The Sunday program. So we want to encourage every Sierra Leoneans to follow up on issues and way they affect the nation on this online TV program because it's an educated program where they address spontaneous issues and current affairs of the country. So one more, I will listen to this music, then I will end the program. I want to thank all the listeners, the comments, then the text messages, them, the viewers, them. If you did Sierra Leone, any part where you did with the diaspora, as a lot, not forget for go register. We not for panic. We not for feel intimidated. Because at the end of the day, now we right and responsibility. Lord, go quietly and follow, say, the rules and regulations we bind in the registration process. We no need for panic. Sierra Leone, a world country. So when I go listen to this music.